want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Come with me if you want to live.
Why so serious?
Shall we begin?
You're listening to the Adventures in Nerding podcast on adventuresinnerding.com. What do you do when you have zero budget? You hire yourself to do your announcing. It's Cory with the Adventures in Nerding podcast from adventuresinnerding.com. And I'm here with a super famous person from Take 3, cool YouTube page, and also she is the admin for every single group on Facebook. It's Kristen Smith.
Yay.
Hi, how you
Accurate.
doing?
Every page, all the pages, all the admin spots.
All the admin spots. Tell people about yourself. What do you do?
I work market research. I have a college degree for history and political science and international relations, but I currently work with statistics. My life makes no sense, and that's how I like it.
So you work with stats.
Yeah.
So why aren't you better than Frank?
Well, you know, Frank has his cool secret Google Doc that he edits all his stuff in, as opposed to like my real statistics software that can, calculate all these fancy things. So that's the difference. Is I can't do the kind of work he does with his crazy cool Google Docs. It's just not the same.
Well, you'd have to watch all the matches.
I mean, I already do that. That's.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just have a life. Oh, no, wait. If you've ever seen how often I'm online on Schmoedown or MTS, then you know that's not accurate. No, Frank is just, he's very good at what he does with those stats.
He's a Rain Man, yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to MTS, just to tell a little bit of background to everybody, Schmoedown, the creators of, the purveyors of movie reviews and movie news, they created it. Once they partnered with Collider, they kind of turned this little game during the Schmoedown live show into an entire movie trivia quiz show that me and Kristen are tiny parts of. Parts of running a...
Minuscule, really.
Yeah, very minuscule. We just, when Christian hits approve all, I deal with the 8 fake people that he let in that want to sell
8
DVDs.
Out of 10.
Well, it's 8, 9, 8.5, 9.9.
Yeah, I mean, it's a percentage of people.
Of fake people. Totally fake people. I'm not saying anything bad about Christian Harloff. He's a great man who I've been trying to interview for 2 years. Just a little under 2 years. Christian, you could answer my emails, maybe lift the restraining order. It's only 50 feet. I can still see you.
I think he has some free time now, actually. I think he's just sitting at home all day, right? Is that what he's doing?
Well, basically.
Like, kids aren't any work at all, right? That's...
Oh, no, not at all.
From
just
what I hear.
Changing diapers, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's like nothing at all. I mean...
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So what drew you to the Schmoedown and all that?
Well, I was watching the Schmoedown on their reviews and then got sucked into the live channel. And they had been doing the Schmoedowns on the live show for a while. And those were always super fun. Got into that last tournament that they hosted on the live show. Did all the brackets and everything with everyone, and that was tons of fun. And then they started doing it on Collider, and it became this huge production, and they got all these really cool names on it, and it just became something that was more than just an entertainment show on the internet. It's like a sport now. And, I follow sports so regularly, not really at all, that this is like my preferred sport. It hits all the right kind of nerdy values for me. People I follow online that will sit down for 30 minutes and have, competitions about movie trivia. What is there that you don't like about that? It sounds like the perfect kind of thing to me.
Well, for nerds, yeah. I love watching matches just because it seems every single match comes down to the final question, even though sometimes the final question is completely horrible. Chris Kalicki, you're listening. aren't you? No, you're not. Chris doesn't follow me. I'm kidding. Yeah, he does. That's so mean. But what draws you in about the current matches? Is there any group in particular that you love?
Well, the current matches are great. I mean, it's the tournament, so of course the current matches are great. But the storylines are always evolving. They try not to make everything too static. With just the development of the characters. And it's always important to remember that some of these people are playing a character. They are not actually that in real life. So all the people on the page who just assume that, Jeff Snyder or Dagnino or whoever is just that way in real life they're just stupid. Come on. People that I typically will root for just based on my online personality, because that's if you follow Take 3, we do the reactions to the matches, and we have Reactor Summit where we just kind of talk about what happened on the Schmoedowns in that week and discuss storylines and what caught our eye, and we'll talk about stuff that happened on Twitter if there were Twitter feuds or whatever. It really is a character. So Chris Clark, if you know who he is at all, he's known for over-the-top reactions for some of his competitors. He's not actually like that in real life. We are kind of playing roles. So my role is, I only will like the faces. I don't typically root for heels to win. So my personality-wise is more towards all the face competitors. Personally, Mark Ellis is my favorite competitor because I've been watching this Schmoedown for a long time. It's hard to not like Mark Ellis as the competitor. Who do I think will win anything in the near future? I don't know that Mark Ellis will win this tournament, but he just hasn't played a lot recently, and that's not his fault, I guess. He's been working on his stand-up a lot or something. But yeah, I really, really enjoy John Roca in the competition. I think that he's had the most interesting storyline, just going from, super heel to heel with a mission to defeat other heels, and now kind of like on that border of face turn. Sometimes he's a little bit more there than others, but it's always good when you have an interesting storyline to go with this, and I know that that's something that Christian really pushes, is the storyline, because he wants this to be more than just trivia. He wants it to be, something that's like wrestling, which is something he's very passionate about.
Well, him and Aaron Turner would be very happy. Roker's like the Stone Cold Steve Austin right now, the anti-hero, the good but bad guy.
Yes, the bad guy that takes out the other bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, somebody I feel bad for is Josh McCouga. I mean, he just got married. That's good. That's something to feel good about. But he tends to... He went on one hot streak in didn't he win the championship in like 2014 or something like that?
He did. He made it to the finals like 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row or something. Like an insane amount of times.
He would always pull the answer at the very last second out of a hat, and that was really entertaining. And there isn't anybody in the contest right now that can really do that. Maybe, I should probably write down names.
Probably. I think JTE does that a lot, where he acts like he doesn't know the answer, but it's in there. I think he has a lot more knowledge than people give him credit for. But I don't think that he is always the best at being able to like take that knowledge out of his brain and then say the right answer. He's definitely getting better at recall, given his very recent performances. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that
it's
counts.
Still moderately early. I've only had one coffee today, so caffeine addiction, not quite fed yet. But no, he's someone who's really good at kind of pulling answers out of a hat.
Yeah, Josh is and I call him Josh. We have that personal relationship connection.
Well,
hopefully,
so fancy.
I know. Hopefully he invites me over for tea. I don't get out much, so that's what I figure people do nowadays is just drink tea together and hang out. But I'm awkward. That's the type of comedy I do. But
That's okay.
He and the Patriots, the Lions Den. They're interesting, and when you're like us and you lord over these groups, and I don't mean lord like we're on some power struggle.
I mean, we are.
We are
obviously
totally.
If you've ever seen us on the pages, that's all we do is just try and make everyone's life so much more difficult.
The dark side,
obviously.
But I'm surprised. I'm surprised that no one. They're literally the only people that have gone to the Lions Den page have been people I added. I'm surprised. They should have more fans. Maybe
they have like 1 million Tom Dagnino fans on the page, but I think that some of them just want to be Tom Dagnino to people who don't want to talk to Tom Dagnino, like the character. They don't want to be in a group full of Tom Dagninos. Like, that's a terrible place to be.
It's just a bunch of dudes calling each other dicks, and
yeah.
No one wants
no
to be a
fun
part
in
of that.
No.
Like, I don't want to be called names. I can do that at home.
Yeah, I can call myself names whenever I want. I mean, I don't need someone else to do that for me. I got that covered.
So with the team tournament, was Team Action a bit of a surprise?
They were, and we basically anyone who said they wouldn't win one of their matches on Take 3 now owes them an apology. I kept that going, so I have a tally of all the apologies I owe them. So I have 3, I believe, right now, and I'll continue that because they're my new team that I won't root for ever, even though they're good guys in real life. I've got to keep up appearances, and recent events have really kind of turned me on the Lions Den. I don't think I could keep up an act where I, didn't support them. They're both good guys, and I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to continue pretending like I don't like them in the face of some of the stuff that they're going through. But Team Action, I'll definitely pretend that I don't like them for as long as I possibly can.
Well, Andrew Guy is my favorite guy. Oh, God, that joke is so terrible when you say it out loud.
It's true, yeah.
He's from Salem. He's from where I live currently.
Oh.
So eventually I will have him on, and we will talk action movies.
Or, I guess, like, dramas? I mean, wouldn't that be...
Dramedies, yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny if you had him on to talk about what he's passionate about and it wasn't action movies?
We're just doing a watch-along of Titanic the entire time. It would just be me screaming at the door. Like, there's enough space. You bitch, let him on the door.
Oh, man.
Dramatic effect. That's what happens. Then you pick out all the horrible points of something. So with the Schmoedown and the tournament and all that, is there something... Now, we talk about stuff that draws you in. Are there certain parts that don't draw you in? That maybe you're thinking, this could be better?
As a whole, I think it's going in a good direction. I think sometimes they try new ideas that don't necessarily hit automatically. And
Stats at the end. Oh, that new thing. It's so terrible.
Oh, yeah. Frank's new segment's terrible. I'm just joking. I really actually kind of like Frank's segment. I do think that the fact that the production value of it is so different from what the rest of the show is that it's a little jarring going into it and then into the match. But the actual data there I find very interesting. I'm more talking about sometimes they'll try a new idea and it won't work the first time they try it. And so then they immediately pull back on it. And sometimes the idea isn't the problem. It's the way that the idea was brought into the show. So like the James Bond category in Inner Geekdom got a ton of backlash. Oh, yeah, that good, eh? She also didn't like the James Bond category. I think
Blistering hate from your dog.
Every time I've talked about this, I think she's barked. So, no, but it got so much backlash, as you will know. But personally, I think that it should be counted as inner geekdom. There are some fans who are like crazy geeky about James Bond. I mean, talk to some of the competitors. They thought it should be in there. There's others that didn't think it should have been in there, but there are also competitors that didn't think The Hobbit should have been its own category. So there's always going to be someone that isn't geeky about a topic.
Someone who,
right?
Yeah, well, someone who hosts a show on people's adventures, being a nerd about something. You can nerd about just about anything. Now, when you're trying to put it into categories, of course, you kind of stick to the traditional things, but the 60s, 70s Bond of gadgets and cool stuff, that's nerdy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it really, really is. And there were comics written about that, and there's comic books and graphic novels nowadays that are based on, old school James Bond. It is something that is a cultural touchstone for nerds, and the fact that you have things like Kingsman coming out, you have other things within that genre which are kind of like parodies of, but also homages to James Bond, is something that I think should be embraced by nerd culture in general, because that's really what nerd culture is about, like using things that you're passionate about to create something else.
Well,
without Star Trek, we would never have had some of the stuff we have now in fantasy sci-fi.
With Bond currently, and I understand some people's frustration, currently it's kind of a born copy. I'm sorry, it is.
It is. I like it, but it is.
Jump cam fights and all that stuff. But they've created another Q. They're probably going to go more towards the unbelievable at some point, because you can't have Bond being sad all the time.
Well, depending on when they get a new Bond. I know Daniel Craig is supposedly signed on for one more. Depending on who the new one is and who they choose to be kind of the showrunner, then they might go back to a little bit more of the, fun gadgets and everything. I kind of liked that this one was based more in reality than the others, honestly. It made more sense in the world, and the focus was more on the story as opposed to what kind of car will he drive this time, and will it be able to be a submarine? I don't know, but we'll find out. Like some of the gadgets felt like they were just in there to appease fans, and I would prefer that not to be like, oh look, we made a watch, but it's also a snorkel. Like, it's stuff like that is just like, why did that need to be a thing? Really? Like, there's a reason that, like shoe phones and like shit like that is parodied so much, because it's stupid. Like, I'm not going to put my shoe up to my face to use it as a phone. That's ridiculous.
It's not practical, and that's what gadgets are nowadays. They're just practical things, Apple Watches, just any kind of smartwatch. They're just practical things that can do what they do, which is basically count the number of steps and calories that you burn walking around.
Yeah, that's the only thing we use gadgets for nowadays.
Really fat burners.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah.
When you get back to the Schmoedown and you get back to the singles tournament, Levine is a surprise to me, because I know he went through a bit of a streak of losing. Singles
he did.
wise.
Yes, a lot of them actually, which is sad, because this is any competitor, when they get a category that they're good at, then they're obviously good. But he's one of those guys that has some surprising categories that he's good at that people don't expect. Like, obviously, like he's pretty good at Quentin Tarantino movies. I wonder why. But he's also he's got hidden depths. And so the fact that he's been so solid the past few weeks has been really good. I've really enjoyed that. Anytime you can get someone who's accredited on the show is good for the show. So we should all be hoping that Sam Levine just wins the whole tournament.
I'm wondering if they recorded the entire thing already.
I don't know I have no idea. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know? Really?
No.
Are you lying?
I don't know. Well, I knew from a few interviews that some stuff had been pre-recorded, and I knew kind of when it had been pre-recorded. But that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It was more just how far in advance some of it was pre-recorded. That is surprising.
Yeah, with the Levine match, you saw Josh McCouga there, those of you listening. Yeah. He was
Christian
on vacation
there,
in, like,
obviously.
Italy or something, and somehow recording the match live at the same time he's on his honeymoon. You can put 2 and 2 together, or 1 and 1.
I mean, and Christian is not technically working right now, but he's still appearing in all the matches, so it should be pretty obvious that things are pre-recorded. They don't do these the day before, it's a big production. My understanding is that there were a few matches that had to be recorded pretty close to when they were supposed to go out. And I think those might have been some of the matches that they had to retract because of issues, which is why they record them so far in advance. There's so much stuff that goes into these matches that requires a lot of time to sift through the footage and make sure everything is solid before they put the product out. And they make something that is so... I mean, it's a great quality show for YouTube. I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube and listen to a lot of YouTube because I have a boring day job, and all I do is listen to YouTube all day. And I mean, in my mind, the Schmoedown is one of the best quality things on YouTube right now. And it definitely deserves a lot more views than it currently has. But especially with people like Sam Levine. He is busy. He's a working actor, which means he's off doing castings and, trainings and readings.
He still looks like
acting.
a baby.
He hasn't aged.
I want to crumple him up and put him in my pocket. It's so cute.
Well, how big is your pocket?
What is he
You
like?
might be able to do that.
Is he 5'3"? Like 5'3", maybe like a
I
buck
don't know.
60?
I'm
kidding. I'm kidding.
If he's 5'3", then he's as tall as I am, so that would be nice. I'm not taller than very many people in my life, so that's why I had to get a dog with real short legs.
You know who's intimidating? Roca. He's like what, like 6'3". He's just huge. Inman is intimidating.
John Schnepp, I guess he's a giant.
And people don't realize that, and we'll get into a little bit of some of the things we see, which is people picking fights with the exact wrong person. The rule of thumb for the internet should be, if you can't say it to someone's face, then don't say it at all.
Yeah,
but some people,
smart.
As you know, like John Roca, they will go after him so hard, and that would be the last person on earth that you would want to go at. Especially if you go by the rule of say it to their face. You're not going to say that stuff to John Roca's face.
No, I mean, he's not the kind of guy who just lets stuff go. And I mean that in the nicest sense, because I have had a few conversations with him. I know he's a good person. But he is also, his personality is a little more combative. And you kind of have to have a mixture of people in the world who are, people like me who will just kind of like let things slide and, deal with it on their own. And people who will come back at you and tell you exactly what they're thinking. And he's one of those people. And you never want to get in a fight with one of those people, especially one that, he's a veteran. And he is still very much in shape, and he very much could probably kick anyone's ass that says anything bad about him on the internet. I mean, he's a scary guy when he gets angry. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Well, yeah, and people tend to cross the line in such inappropriate ways. I know when someone went after Inman's wife, that was way out of line. People went after Jen, and this is just stuff just to kind of give people an idea of what goes on in these groups, what goes on in Twitter. Yes, honey.
Very upsetting.
Exactly. That's what she's saying is completely accurate. So people go after these performers, and they don't realize that, you know what? These people read this stuff. They're in between takes recording, DC movie news like Inman does, or in between movie talk, TV talk, and whatever news segment, spoiler review that they're doing at Collider. So you can literally ruin someone's day by saying mean stuff. Now, most people let it slide off their back, but if you're having a particularly bad day, it bites when someone calls you, basically the worst thing on earth.
Yeah. Or, I mean, in the case of like Inman, it would be one thing if someone had said something negative about him. Lord knows that's happened on the page many, many times. But when someone goes after your family, like, that is different. Like, do not attack someone in a personal way. And I know Ashley is a competitor, so it's a little bit different, but at the same time, it's not. Like, there are ground rules. There is a way to be a fan that interacts with competitors, in a joking manner, in a, kind of ribbing way. And there is a way to not do that. And there is a very distinctive line, and attacking them on a personal level definitely crosses the line. And if you bring someone's family into it, that is personal, and that is something that should not be allowed. Like, people should just know better than to do shit like that.
So when you get into announcers like Emma, Grace, and Jen, it gets pretty disgusting, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
When people are talking about like bone structure and weight and the way they talk, and I just gotta remind people that they're not the producers. These girls, ladies, professional women, they've gone through the tryout process. They're not going through it again with you. So back off.
And do they deserve to have that kind of stuff said about them? No, they definitely don't. And if you want to say like, oh, I love Emma, she's great and she's super cute and I love that she's a nerd about things, like, sure, that's cool. Like, obviously, the fact that you can be physically attracted to a person is natural, but when you just get really disgusting about your comments, like, why? Just, that's fine. Leave that off the internet. No one needs to hear that kind of shit.
No one needs to hear the, well, she's my future wife, but she doesn't know it.
That's just, that, you know what? That is like grade A creep to me. Like, that is really weird. Like, why? Well, and it's different because there's like, when you're like a kid and you've got like your first like movie star crush and you're like, one day I'm going to be Mrs. Ryan Gosling. No, I never said that ever in my life. But like, that's different. Like, that is just like a crush, and like, you don't know the person and you're never going to meet them and you're never going to talk to them. When you put it on MTS, like, oh, Grace is my future wife, like, she reads those comments. Like, that's completely different. And also, you're a grown-ass man.
Yeah, you're like, you're in your mid-30s and you're married. Probably talking about throwing someone in your trunk is a bad idea. Also, it'll get you on a list and get a red dot over your ass. You don't want that.
If you're doing the same thing that I did when I was like 10 years old and had a big picture of Leo on the back of my door, like, that's weird. If you're acting like a 10-year-old girl, like, that's probably like a sign that you aren't quite there. Like, come on, you're an adult. Act like an adult.
Now, they're involved in storylines, and it's okay to play along with the storylines and be like, well, why can't Grace be the announcer for all the matches? And
oh, yeah, definitely.
And, but I had Emma on, and she is a great storyteller. I love to see her on the announcing table more often because she knows how to connect stories. And this is a geeky announcing thing, radio thing. When you have somebody that's a storyteller, when you have moments that are just lulls, long lull moments where you're trying to think of an idea, having a storyteller just start something and be able to finish it is just amazing, and it's something you need.
Yeah, Emma. I don't know why people don't like Emma. Like, I just don't get it because she's so much fun and like she's got such an easy personality to like. It's not,
Catch her on Hyper RPG.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I mean, and she's like a proponent for people to just like what they like and to be nerdy and geeky about what they want to be nerdy and geeky about. Like
Very much like your character on Take 3.
yeah, something like that. Very much like that. I might be like a mix of Emma and like Clark Wolf on there. It's not, I'm not very creative. I just do what I see. No, it really is like the way that she expresses herself on all of her stuff that she does, not just the Schmoedown, because she has a lot going on for her outside of Collider. But the way that she expresses herself, I always have really enjoyed. And the way that she just, I mean, whatever she's passionate about, like, she's passionate about it. She does not hide that she really enjoys, like, anime. She does not hide that she really enjoys, like, Harry Potter. She loves it. And she definitely will tell you all about it. And I love that.
I looked up, I had to study Sailor Moon for a good couple of days before recording my podcast with her because we went over Sailor Moon. And, what do you listen to? Do you listen to the American voiceover version, or do you listen to dogs barking in the background during the recording? Or
always dogs barking in the background. It's normal.
Or the
She's a herding
Japanese
dog. They bark at pretty much everything.
Japanese with American subtitles. I got a kid in the background and puppy dog pals. So,
well, puppy dog pals here too. So. We got that in common, man.
Puppy dog. I've got a 14-year-old cat, so I don't have much noise.
Yeah, mine unfortunately makes all the noise. And there's probably a dog or a bicyclist or a paper bag outside in my front yard.
Squirrel.
Yeah, unfortunately. No, but the you always want to listen to Japanese subtitles, except for Sailor Moon, because the voice actress I do not enjoy on that. She's just a little too like, yeah.
When you get into the Schmoedown announcers, Ken, Mark, Christian, is there a preference? Is there a preference of duo that you like? I know that Ken and Mark together kind of get a bit jokey. I enjoy that. I know some people are like, I want the match finished.
Yeah. No, the shut up, dog. No, so it's always good to have Ken and Ellis together because they are super jokey. But the dynamic between Christian and Mark is just fantastic. Like you have to have the calm, cool, and collected humor of Christian to offset like the goofy humor of Mark. Like that is the reason that they work well together. And like some of the best moments in the Schmoedown have happened when they've been co-hosting together. Like, I mean, it's just the reactions between the two of them when like Mark will say a joke and Christian tries to hold it in and then fails completely. Like those are just some of the best moments. There's nothing that's better than that, honestly.
I like one of the newer things that they've been trying, like the challenges. Like during matches, it just seems it adds an air of kind of like during the NFL when challenges are issued. That kind of this could potentially swing the match. I like a bit of intrigue.
Yeah, it definitely adds a level of I don't want to say like panic, but it adds a level of tension to the match.
Now we've basically talked everything about Schmoedown. It just turned into a Schmoedown podcast. Guess what? I could show this on the entire MTS page.
You could.
Take that.
We talked for like 30 minutes about the Schmoedown. So
well, you know what? Let's
throw it on up there.
Let's talk about our cohorts. We've got about 11 or 12 admins.
Yeah,
I call them kids because I'm older than all of them. They work really
That's
hard.
accurate. You're old. I mean, that's okay.
That is accurate. 37, almost 38. They are from all my Chris's, and it seems like I just get a Chris a day.
Yeah.
Skalicki, I've been working with him for a few years. We started out on Schmoedown.com writing, and of course, he's written questions. I may have written one at one point, but he is really, really, really smart. Who else do we have? Linus, one of our newer admins, 16.
Yeah, he's just a wee little lad. I mean, he's just a kid.
And he is passionate, and he will call you out on something.
Oh yeah, he will.
But don't worry. I'm right there behind him to tell him, hey, dude, slow down.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Everything will be fine, child.
It's gonna be fine. You're 120 pounds soaking wet. Don't pick fights with people. But and then we got Brian, who's taking a little bit of a break. Brian is awesome. He's the engine that could. One of my original admins. Rosiska, who is a GIF machine.
Yes.
There isn't enough positive things to say about him because he's just funny.
Yeah, he makes me laugh a lot. I like him. He's cool.
Who else we got?
Jen. Everyone loves Jen. I mean, she's
the meme
like
queen. Yeah.
She's just the queen in general. Like, Jen's awesome.
I think I've elevated her to like admin in everything I'm a part of. I'm sure she really appreciates that because she hasn't been able to create memes in like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, and like, what people don't seem to think about all the time is that like we have our own like actual lives and jobs and stuff. So when you get messages at like 3 a.m. like, hey admins, why aren't you doing your work? I'm like, because I'm sleeping, dipshit. Like, I have a life and I need to wake up to go to work in 3 hours.
I'll be up at a tower or something, or somebody's actually doing a live show that brings in millions of dollars and I'm trying to get their equipment running, and if I touch the wrong wire, I could die. But yes, I'm going to delete this comment where someone calls you a douche.
Right. Like, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, Jen, she's so busy that she hasn't been able to do her normal meme queen duties, but she's still the meme queen in my heart.
We've got a few more. There's you, of course, who has rocketed to superstardom. Probably going to get your own podcast on SK Plus.
I just try and be positive, and I think that there's so much not positive things out there that people just like that.
You naturally project. You're funny, which brings you right above Snelling's co-host. I'm kidding. I love Jay. Jay, I love you. It's okay. Cut your hair though, dude. You're not you're not emo. You keep flipping it over. I don't know what eye to look at. Just do your hair, bro. It's all good. I love you. I'm kidding, but I'm not. I'm totally not kidding. Come at me. We'll have a weird fight. It'll be awkward. It'll be super awkward.
As much as I love hearing you love on Jay, I understand. You have a love-hate relationship. We've also got Aaron and Frank. They're fantastic guys. Rundown guys, but they're super great. They're nice. And
Frank is so funny.
Yeah, they're both funny.
And Aaron, Aaron chugs along with the funny. Frank is so cool, and I don't know if he ever sleeps. Because I will get a message at 4 o'clock in the morning with a joke like, "Hey man, hey Frank, how you doing? My daughter just woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. How are you?" Be like, I just got in from Miami. Woo!
Yeah, Frank is like the man of mystery because you never know where he's at, and I have no idea what he does, but he travels a lot.
He's a stewardess.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That is an old-fashioned term for it.
Yeah, like a flight attendant.
Correct? Attendant, yeah.
I did not know that.
I thought maybe he isn't. Maybe he's just some tech dude who just sits in the belly of the plane petting dogs.
I mean, like, I see him, like, take pictures on planes, like, sitting down. I just assumed that if he was a flight attendant, I think that's what they prefer to be called now, right? Like, is that the PC term?
I think it's a PC term. You don't want to say stewardess because there's male flight attendants. So.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely a guy. I mean, I've never met him in real life. I just assume that he's a guy.
He's got a really good goatee, so I'm assuming he's a guy, too.
You know, women can grow facial hair, too. It's a common misconception.
And Aaron, I don't know what he does for a living, but he is hilarious. Along with him and David's, their podcast is so much fun, and I've been a big supporter of it to the point where I just kick anything that isn't it. Yeah, I'm mean. I'm just a mean person. I'm really sorry.
True.
I've been mean to people. I don't.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone's got to be mean to someone. It's just normal.
It's kick the cat syndrome, and when I get home, I take 3 a few times, and then I feel better. I'm sorry,
we're in
Jacob.
An abusive relationship.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I love you. The way you talk seduces me. Your toilet's flushed the wrong way, but I don't care. If you asked me, I would move to Australia, and we would raise pugs together, and it'd be a good life. No, I'm
Pugs in
dreaming.
Australia.
Pugs in
Right.
Australia. Yeah, drinking red wine.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a dream. It's a dream I have. That's so awful.
What a dream to have. Pugs in Australia.
Pugs in
And red
Australia, eh?
No.
Is
I don't
that
know
a
about that
dog?
one.
This is a dog.
Oh my god.
But yeah, you know, when you're admitting groups or you're trying to sell something on social media, you run into different types of people, and we've run into some great people. Like the other day, Jen Sturger was trying to get awareness for dogs that are needy to be adopted or have been injured, and you know, it's not always about the storylines or the characters. Sometimes it goes beyond that. There's things recently that happened that affected people who are my friends, and you are surprised, and I am, you know, growing a big heart over how positive people have been over the current scandal, which I'm not going to name because I don't know when I'm putting this out, but were you a bit warmed by the so many positive responses?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good when the page is positive. As much as I enjoy being on these pages, they aren't always the nicest places to be in. But every once in a while, something goes through, and then everyone is just like, "That's awesome," and all the positive comments, and it's just great to know that when something actually happens that's serious and affects real life and isn't just comments about a show on the internet, that people will stand behind it and do the right thing. And it makes you feel good about humanity every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
when it happens.
Josh Tapia, Brianne, April, they are all very, very nice people who I've had on various versions of my podcast. I was trying to have Brianne on once, and my equipment went bonkers. And she sat in with me, literally, going over stuff. She's like, "You can use this, you can use that." Could not get it to record. It was a wiring thing that I didn't figure out. Had to call my old boss, but she sat through it. It's some of the nicest people are involved in the Schmoedown. The access is unbelievable, and I know people kind of get used to it and talking to people and talking to John and Christian, and you know, you reach out to people and you're able to talk to them. But you know what? Most of the time, most products you do not get to interact with the talent. You just don't. It's not worth it to the companies. Time is money. You record, go home. Beyond that, you know, unless you're getting paid, some folks don't want to interact with people. And we're very fortunate that Christian works with people that one want to entertain, but two also want to interact with people. And go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, as much as you've interacted with people on these pages, they're still basically strangers to you. And I think we're in a place where we can impact people with what we say, and people should just remember that you don't necessarily know them, and so joking around with them isn't always the best option. Just try and stay positive, blah blah. PSA announcement over. I love that I have the opportunity to talk to these people on social media because they do create a large part of my life right now. I mean, a lot of my social life is online at the moment, and there's nothing wrong with that. I consider a lot of the people on these pages actual friends and not just people I know online. And I talk to them a lot more than I'll talk to my real life friends. And maybe that's not healthy. I'm not sure. Maybe I should look into that. But
It's
you
okay.
know,
You keep dead owls underneath your bed. That's fine. That's
it's
fine.
completely normal. The dead owls are there for a reason. It's not weird, I promise. The thing is, when you're online on these pages as often as I am, which might not be healthy, and you watch all the content, because I really do watch all the content, and I'm not joking saying that I listen to YouTube all day. Like, I'm pretty much on podcasts all day long because the work I do is extremely tedious and not always very interesting. And so I will listen to probably 5 or 6 podcasts a day at my desk at work. And then I'll come home and watch the Schmoedowns or, whatever else is on. So I do take in pretty much all the content. And when someone is that much a part of your life, it's great that you can just reach out to them and thank them for their content, or say, hey, you said this during your show the other day and I was curious about your thoughts about it, or offer them like criticism, good criticism, not this sucks, I hate it, but like actual constructive criticism. And it's nice to have that venue. It's nice to know that if I wanted to ask Roka a question, I could do that. I could pose that to him.
He is the
And
most
there's, like,
accessible.
well, he's one of the most accessible. An 80% chance he'll answer me, which is more than I would get if I had been watching someone else for a long time. And there have been other YouTube channels or whatever that I've been watching for a lot longer that I've never felt like I could actually connect to any of the people on them. And so we're in a great position where we do have that access to these people. And it's not a right that we have access to these people. It is definitely a privilege, and I would like to keep that privilege. And so if people could all just settle down when they tag people and not tag them in douchebag comments, I enjoy being able to talk to these people on these pages. So don't run this for me.
As Kristen has nicely put things, I'm the guy that gets to apologize to just about. I get to meet every cool person and then apologize for anything mean you've said about their families, mothers, grandfathers, people that are dead. The mean stuff you say, and usually the response back is always gracious. This, joking aside, it's like, well, you can't control that. It's 15,000 people. You're gonna have 1 or 2 people who go beyond fandom, and it goes back to the soap opera days of, it's 70-year-old woman watching the soap and hates Victor Newman and sees the actor that plays him walking down the street and throws water in his face because how could you do that? How could you sleep with those 3 women and one of them was your daughter? Like, literally.
Well, that's crazy.
People believe things, and they get angry, and I'm just there to diffuse it. And I love doing it and working with Christian in a small way on the website and on this. It's fun. It's fun interaction. I've been doing this for 10 years. It's not this particular thing, but working in radio and working with people, and I've done some insane stuff. You can Google it. It's pretty awful.
Yeah.
You earn your stripes. You earn your stripes in this industry, and I am so grateful for what Christian and Mark do and what the people at Collider do. So I'm a bit more protective than everyone else is, because I know that at any second this could all go away, and people tend to say, like, no, it's going to last forever. I'm like, no, it's not.
Nothing ever lasts forever. I mean, that's rule 1 of life, is that everything has to end at some point. And that's depressing. Obviously, I just took this at a completely different place. No, but I mean, nothing can last forever. There is a natural end point to everything in this universe. And the fact that we are able to enjoy this content and that it has been around for as long as it has been is fantastic. Do I want it to continue for as long as possible? Absolutely. Like, I don't know what I would do with my day self if I didn't have, an episode of Movie Talk a day to listen to, or
Corgi gifts.
Yeah, like I mean, I would just have to keep looking up more Corgi gifts, and there's only so many of those on the internet. I mean, come on, guys, let's load some more new ones. I haven't seen a new Corgi gif in a while. Yeah, I'm just obsessed with Corgi gifs. It's normal. It's a normal thing to be obsessed over. But it could end at any point. I mean, there have been other channels that I've been very attached to that have ended with no announcement or anything. They just stopped making videos. And it's always a possibility. I would never want that to happen, but the end of YouTube could happen. It's a possibility as well. Like you look at television and cable, and their viewer rates have really decreased, and people have gone to streaming services, and YouTube is trying to keep up with that, but
the audience has widened. And when you've got Amazon buying Justin TV, and what comes with Justin TV was Twitch. They shut down Justin.
Yep.
They've got Twitch. Facebook is trying to do Facebook video, which looks terrible.
Yes, it does.
If you hit video, there's a couple of shows on there. But everybody is trying something. Everybody's trying to get into streaming, and this is getting very nerdy about it, but who cares?
Well, you are in a podcast called Adventures in
Nerdy. So
accurate.
CBS, ABC, Disney's going to have their own streaming app. Disney owns Lucas, Marvel, and CBS or ABC. I don't know which one, but they have so much
ESPN
content.
And
yeah,
all the things. Disney owns everything. If you're not owned by Disney, you don't exist.
So they're going to have a gigantic app. So there's a lot of competition. So you could see companies like, Collider and their parent company, something, like the SJ people and Defy could get bought by someone. At some point, the market corrects itself, especially if there's a lot of content and good, talented people. And there are so many good, talented people in the movie blogosphere, the TV blogosphere.
Yeah, and there's new ones every day.
And at some point, the big guys notice and they buy things up. And I'm not telling people that things are going to end right away and stuff like that. I'm just sharing information, which may not make the podcast for the spot that I put on the page. But it's interesting when you think about it, and you think of the perspective of what Christian and his team and Dennis and them actually have to go through, and hats off to them for dealing with that.
Yeah, for sure. And they handle it very well. I mean, there's been a lot of things on the pages that have not been great, but I've always been really impressed with the way people handle themselves on the page when they're talking to their fans, or people that say they're fans but act like they're douchebags.
Dude, you guys, it's wrestling storylines. I can call somebody a dick. Well,
no,
kinda.
Not really.
You perspective, folks. Perspective. If somebody's in character, talk to them like they're in character. If they're not in character, maybe,
leave them alone.
Leave them alone. Leave their parents, girlfriends, what they're shopping for, stuff out of it. Cool? Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Agreements.
Glad we all agree.
We can throw in an AMA every once in a while. You never know. We'll get John Roca back on, answer your questions. None of them will be about Bespin. Don't even think about it. Don't ask him about Bespin.
Maybe one of them will be about Bespin.
It's possible. Somebody right now is probably tweeting to him about Bespin. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't call him Pizza Boy. Don't call what?
That's where the ever present question of what are your gaps in Star Wars trivia came from, by the way. Roca AMA, and he wouldn't answer that question specifically. That question. Because it was after the Bespin thing happened, and we wanted to know what his gaps in Star Wars trivia were.
Okay, honey, I know. You want to close out? Okay, come here.
Hello, what is it? What are you doing?
All right. So we got my co-host in here, Zoe Naught. She is 19 months old. Super awesome. What do you want to say, honey? What do you want to say about puppies? Oh, okay. Well, Kristen, where can people find you?
You can find me on
And I unplugged my
Twitter.
headphones, so I hope you say good stuff.
Good. No, I'm saying nothing good. Don't worry about it. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Smith_K10. The numbers, not the words. I'm also on the Take 3 Productions YouTube channel on some of their reactions and other shows. You can see me there saying things every once in a while.
Hey, and I'm Cory. I do stuff on the internet. You can find me. Or I could just, tell you. I unplugged my headphones. This is going swimmingly. All right. You can find me in a number of places. Cool991. You can find my movie blog. That thus links directly back to adventuresinnerding.com. You can find the Adventures in Nerding podcast in a number of places. iTunes, Podomatic, something FM. Evidently, my daughter just fired a missile. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Sorry, honey. And you can't find me on Snapchat or anything like that because that would indicate that I was single and I am married.
Accurate.
That is extremely accurate. Hi, honey. Okay, we're done. We're done. It's over. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. Children are fun. It took us 5 years to conceive this kid, and she is awesome and very smart. Thank you, honey. Thank you, honey. But let me do a good close. This is Cory, and the Schmoedown means a lot to all of us. This little one, too. She's a big fan of Mark Riley. Huge fan of Mark Riley. My next guest will be Mark Riley, by the way. We will talk about Jaws and Star Wars, mostly Star Wars, because I'm not watching all 3 Jaws movies. I heard the third one sucks. We'll get into, hey, where's Mon Mothma? Will she fill in for... I feel the same way about Leia being gone, but I can't control it. Massive heart attack on a plane. Ender. You know what? I should just do the Ender.
Shall we?
Nope, that's not it. Is that it?
Previous episodes. Go to adventuresinnerding.com and watch previous episodes.
You like the show?
No. It's the worst show ever.